Hello, everyone. It is March 4, 2022. This is not an exaggeration, but the title is Nuclear War. Are we all going to die? Um, just giving you the headlines. What exactly happens if we nuke a city? I think like the rhetoric is that the nuclear war is an empty threat. But today, this is what actually happened. So let's just go through what happened and what people also are commenting about what just happened. Gary Kasparov is a Russian human rights activist, a former world chess champion, urging harsher military and economic strategy against Russian President Vladimir Putin, March 3, 2022. That was last night. Russia should be thrown back into the Stone Age to make sure that the oil and gas industry and other sensitive industries vital for survival of the regime cannot function without Western technological support. What we do know is that harsher sanctions are not stopping Putin. In fact, it is actually getting worse by the day. So I've never really priced this in. And I think the market is waking up to a world where nuclear winter is a possibility. So nuclear winter is a severe and prolonged global climatic cooling effect hypothesized to occur after widespread firestorms following a large-scale nuclear war. This video, what if we nuke a city? In other words, we die, we all die. So you can just watch it. This video comes from Kurz Gesat in a nutshell. 18 million subscribers, I think 20 million views. You can probably try to watch if you wanted to know what happens if we nuke a city. So this just happened a few hours ago. Europe's biggest nuclear power plant is burning after being attacked by Putin's tanks. Increased radiation levels are detected after generating unit is hit. Foreign minister is warning a meltdown would be 10 times worse than Chernobyl. Some people are laying this news off. They're saying that this is just a threat. It's not real. Well, I don't know what will take the world to take this seriously, but when will it be enough? A government official just told the AP that elevated levels of radiation was now detected near the site of the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, providing about 25% of Ukraine's power generation. Europe must wake up, said by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He spoke with UK PM Boris Johnson, adding that and other leaders, Russian tanks are firing at us, the nuclear power station, the biggest one in Europe. So I hope this does not happen. And when this happens, ultimately, we're all gone anyway. In case you're wondering, should you short the markets in light of these? One thing for you to understand is that even if you short the market, when you wake up, the world markets are already zero. So, okay, so you win. So what? Doesn't matter. The world loses. Everyone loses. So, let's understand, if the plant explodes close to the core, Ukraine, Poland, Moldavia, Belarus, Russia, Germany, they're all exposed. Is it really risky enough, or are we just still eating popcorn here? So is the attack on the Europe's largest nuclear plant a sufficient threat to EU and the NATO, or still not yet? A few things. Right now, we're seeing a lot of billionaires who were linked to Putin are being sanctioned by EU. Some of richest men in Europe, in Russia, is now an EU sanctions target. Says here that Alexei Mordashov left 14 days ago to Seychelles. It is an island, just really in his luxurious jet. Latest news a while ago, Russia and Ukraine war. Latest news, all the world's leaders are urging ceasefire after the shelling started a fire at a nuclear power plant. Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of UK, condemning this reckless action of Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian president tells Europe to wake up to these perils. Kremlin is denying a plan to institute martial law in Russia. The French are warning the worst is yet to come. As Macron's call with Putin really resulted to nothing. UK widened sanctions to Alisher Usmanov, Igor Shchevalov. So there's more billionaires and oligarchs linked to Putin. Fathers mourning son as civilian victims continue to mount. There's so many residential civilians Um, I shared a lot of it on Twitter in case you want to look at graphic images of war. Um, these are just how things are, but still, even if it's a joke and in a meme, it's really happening. Lots of lives getting lost. Few things just wanted to share. So we have a dictator for about 20 years. So Russia and Belarus. So in case you still think that democracy and dictator is not a problem, so a few things happening nowadays. Um, some oligarchs are also being found dead at home in Surrey. So um, I guess war is happening both fronts, right? So just death all over. Turn down the heating by 1 degree Celsius to reduce the need for Russian imports, Europeans are told. Uh, Still, though, we would send the world into spiraling depression, even if we say that we will not use gas and oil. Um, it would be a worldwide catastrophe today, still. Shops are rationing food and drugs, curbing panic buying amid COVID lockdown fears in Hong Kong. Radiation, in case some scientific things. Radiation will damage your stomach and intestines, blood vessels, and bone marrow, making blood cells. Damage to your bone marrow will lower the number of disease-fighting white blood cells in your body. As a result, most people will die from radiation sickness, killed by infections or internal bleeding. These are last statements of the Russian spies who tried to silence Putin and got killed in the process. So this was a 2006 KGB colonel who died of radiation poisoning. I'd like to thank many people, my doctors, nurses, hospital staff for doing all they can for me, the British police for pursuing my case with rigor and professionalism, watching over me and my family. I'd like to thank the British government. I'd like to thank the British public. My love for my wife and my son knows no bounds. As I lie here, I can distinctly hear the beating of the wings of the angel of death. I may be able to give him the slip, but I have to say my legs do not run as fast as I would like. I think, therefore, that this may be the time to say one or two things to the person who's responsible for my present condition. You may succeed in silencing me, but that silence comes at a price. You've shown yourself to be as barbaric and ruthless as your most hostile critics have claimed. You've shown yourself to have no respect for life, liberty, or any civilized values. You've shown yourself to be unworthy of your office, unworthy of the trust of civilized men and women. You may succeed in silencing one man, but the howl of protest from around the world will reverberate, Mr. Putin, in your ears for the rest of your life. May God forgive you for what you have done to humanity, for Russia, and for all the people of the world. So, obviously, Russians also condemn Putin. This is not the world against Russia. This is against a few people who is leading Russia into this Nazi, neo-Nazi thinking. Now, there is really enough reason to be worried so that, you're 100% in cash. If all these things are enough reason for you to take a loss, then that is really what the market is giving to us. It is a hard decision. So there, immense damage is very difficult to say, unquantifiable, if I may have to say. So faced with an unimaginable risk, if you prefer to take losses and accept losses, it is a hard market. So you could just recalibrate it further next time. I don't know how low the market's gonna fall tonight. If you had got losses last night, then good for you. I don't know what could happen today. So US futures, EU futures, the world is on edge. It is hard if so far we've seen kind humanity happen all throughout. Germany, of course, helping Ukrainians. Boris Johnson doing all he can. Actually, UK and Germany giving a lot of missiles and tanks to Ukraine. And I've seen some of the leaders of Russia are also condemning Putin himself. So there might be a regime change within the weekend. We don't know. But for the sake of humanity, we hope that the world wins against Putin, against evil. So anyway, if you will go 100% cash next week, let's assume you just hold on through a drawdown. It is fine as well. The problem is, I just don't know how much. So it's really, it's unquantifiable, as I said. I don't know what's the appropriate thing. So it would matter to the personal choices. So example, if you lose 20% or 10% overnight, I don't know if you want to take it to a cash or just accept and bite the bullet. So it is a personal choice, as I said. It's a personal choice. Overnight, of course, a lot of interesting things happened. Wheat, starvation crisis with commodities. The world knows that Russia is the largest producer of wheat, which is grains, and that is your bread, that is your pasta. Um, in the end, I think like these are reactionary events. I don't know if that is something that you will still continue to engage. So I wouldn't, it's just facts. So I wouldn't even dare to speculate about these things. So just facts, Ukraine's agricultural land. Ukraine is the bread basket of Europe. 71% of Ukraine's land is agricultural. So UK and Ukraine, Europe's agricultural land. Permanent pasture. So all of the world's, Ukraine is home to a quarter of the world's black soil, or Chernozem, which is highly fertile. Just in case Ukraine becomes a Chernobyl, we lose the world. We lose a massive population, number one, genocide. Radiation is going to be affected actually all throughout the world. Scientific says that 500-kilometer radius, but it's going to reverberate everywhere. And obviously, if you shoot a nuclear missile into a city, you are doing a nuclear war. In the end, billions will die. I don't even know if we will last tomorrow or tonight or next week. I don't even know if we will have class if the unthinkable happens. But every other political analyst said that the unthinkable is a probability when it comes to Putin. Even if you think he won't, he will. People said he will not invade Ukraine. He did. So if you think that he will not lift his finger onto a nuclear missile and be a nuclear warhead in the process and kill humanity as we know it, it is wrong miscalculation on anyone's part. So you have to assume that he will kill all of us, basically. So there's many ways to kill all of us. Of course, we can die because of starvation crisis. So this is gonna happen if Ukraine happens to be taken over. So starvation crisis is possible. Russia and Ukraine's main exports. So let's take a look at this. Russia, of course, is oil and gas. Ukraine is corn, wheat, rapeseed, barley, soybeans, all of your DBAs, agricultural commodities. So in the end, if you're not gonna die with guns, you're gonna die with hyperinflation. Food is probably gonna double, triple, quadruple. We don't know. So you will still end up hungry. The world will die of starvation. I don't think China wants this either. So I think like just for hoping and praying, we have to hope that the world can neutralize a warhead and detonate all the nuclear weapons as well, so that there is no humankind risk with a button. Geoeconomics of the Black Sea. Ukraine is relying on the Black Sea ports to export agricultural goods around the world. Right now, there are Russian warships in that Black Sea. So, yun. So these are the geographical things. This is Odessa, which was blasted. This is Istanbul. This is the Black Sea. Obviously, with the Ukrainian invasion, it's just one war and it's really World War III naman talaga. So yun. So 95% of Ukraine's grain was exported via the Black Sea in 2020. So if you stop and curtail the grains, then the world already dies in a way. 50% of Ukraine's wheat exports went to the MENA region in 2020. Global shipping flows, regional exports, and the ports. So think Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia and Belarus are friends. These are all the Hungary, Romania, Moldova. So yan yung mga next to be blasted. Reactor at Europe's biggest nuclear power plant is on fire. meltdown. I'll read to you what Gary Kasparov is sharing. The corridors to get weapons, food, and medicine in and refugees out are narrowing and can be closed. He's talking about the Black Sea. Putin can just bomb the trains, close the borders with NATO nations. The odds of Russian forces hitting a NATO asset are increasing. And then what? Still watching? So basically what he's saying is that the NATO and the US allies are not doing enough. Now, if your answer is no, if a wing of RU jet crosses Polish airspace, of course NATO will engage immediately. Ask why thousands of Ukrainian civilians dying first matters less than a treaty and what that says to Putin, that you are honorable or a fool. We know. As I said in 2014, a fateful week ago, the price of stopping a dictator always goes up. What would have been enough to stop Putin 8 years, 6 months, or 2 weeks ago is not enough today. The price will rise again tomorrow. Fight, find a way. So basically, every day that Putin is not cleared, massive deaths every day. Okay, so Putin vows to exterminate Ukrainians while we are watching. Ukraine did nothing wrong but tried to join the democratic world that we are now witnessing crimes against humanity in real time. It's not unable, unwilling. So what he's saying is that the NATO closed the sky. Ukraine is asking closing the sky. So, yun. So anyway, if USA is able to stop the war, if NATO is able to stop the war, crippling Putin and ending the war, then good relief. We will rise. Your lungs will be fine if that happens. Gap up on Monday. That's why you don't short, by the way. You don't know what's going to happen within the weekend. If USA, however, is unable to stop the war, well, we either die already, we'll fall. So doesn't matter if you win, right? I mean, if you're short, win, so you're rich on paper, but you're already dead. You're in hell, or if you survive, you're still in hell. The world will end. So I think like there's no winner here. Anyway, your entire lungs will also gap down massively. Damage will be hard to estimate. 0. I don't know. Due to these risks, I think it's just appropriate to just head the cash. We don't know the outcome. I don't know. So I would lose money yet again tonight. It's a price I'll pay for trying to go long. My mistake. Try to go long. We have a madman on the loose who is really threatening to kill a massive population through nuclear weapons. I've seen that in entire history, Russia is the first to actually fire towards a nuclear power plant. A misfire would have melted the world. You would have been sleeping and then you didn't know that there was already a nuclear missile and war. Baka matulog ka, tas tulog ka, patay ka na tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, these are just us Philippines who buys Russian Ukrainian wheat. A quarter of the world's wheat exports comes from Russia and Ukraine in 2019. So these are all dependent. Just in case, or even if this war ends, we will have persistent inflation forever. Kasi even if Ukraine wins, Russia dies, wala pa rin tayong wheat. Wheat is linked to a painful history in Ukraine. In 1932, the Holodomor, or the Great Famine, this saw millions of Ukrainians die of starvation. This was a result of deadly political decisions by Joseph Stalin to collectivize agriculture and confiscate farmers' land. Top stories. Okay, grain exporters are tapping EU supplies as war shuts Ukraine ports. Russia's Ukraine invasion puts business leaders on the edge. Oil prices are the highest since 2014. Oil prices are soaring. Equities are all sinking on Ukrainian invasion. So, largest exporter of wheat, 18% of international exports, used for bread, pasta, food staples. Russia and Ukraine have exported more than 25% of the world's wheat. Wala ng bread. Wala ng pasta. According to FAO in 2019, Russia was the world's biggest wheat exporter. I'll just share to you links on my Twitter. Most of these things right now are happening in real time, so the classes won't work too much. So yeah, in World War III, all of us are dead. all humans are eliminated. That's why, in my view, I don't know, but I think China could do a last ditch save for humanity. Anyway, it's highly possible that China only thinks of Chinese, and the Russian escalation of war is actually bad for China. It's bad for China. And if Xi Jinping loves his own, if Xi Jinping loves his own country and China, he'll do the right thing, I think. So he might be able to actually save the world. I don't think Biden and NATO could. Not so sure. I don't know. But anyway, we're also seeing a lot of acts of humanity happen nowadays. An evil enemy will burn his own nation to the ground to rule over the ashes. Looks like that's what's going to happen if unhinged and unstopped. So these are already happening. I mean, this was happening because I think the world did not pay attention to Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Iran. So Ukraine is just another one of those wars. So yun. These are today's headlines. Just look at what's happened in Ukraine. And troops don't care what they hit, says the destitute civilians. These are also children of Russia, so also in war. So this, you can just follow Putin war criminal or Putin Hitler. So a lot of people are also saying that they hope that NATO will not sleep tonight, the same way that Ukrainians don't sleep anymore, because everyone in Ukraine knows that tomorrow their city will just blow up, they'll die, right? So these are Russian, these are European. I shared anything that I could. This one, I think you can watch this.
Hello, Mr. President.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you. Not bad?
These have been written by people who have been understanding Vladimir for a long time. Let me just read a few things that I've seen, I've read. Vladimir Putin has created a kind of an around-the-clock global repair service for broken dictatorships, the #1 go-to destination for failing authoritarian leaders the world over. So far, it does the job. Thousands of people dead, new democracies bleeding, the West either passively watching or eagerly co-financing this political enterprise via JV like the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. I heard about these people saying that this is called morality margin call. I think right now the world is waking up to the fact that they have endangered the world when they purchased oil, when they made a joint venture with the Russian Rosneft, all the Severstal. So at some point, let's read this. The US and the EU will have to face the bitter truth. Russia chose to confront the West. It was not forced to. It had other options, plenty of those, yet it chose a covert global face-off instead of a win-win world. It decided on a strategy to undermine the West wherever it can. There is nothing the West can do to change this decision. Either push back or look away. Russia pushes on. No number of resets, peaceful speeches, friendly handshakes, visits to the May 9th Victory Day parade in Moscow will make Putin reconsider his attitude. This for one simple reason. The confrontation mode is the one in which Kremlin functions best and feels most comfortable, through which the world makes most sense for today's Russian leadership and for their electorate too, for that matter. All friendly gestures aimed at assuaging the hostility will only persuade Russia that Putin was right in pegging that the West is weak and corruptible. This is the same thing that Garry Kasparov has been saying. You cannot fight Putin showing weakness. So I don't know if their foreign intelligence can successfully fix the situation now, but so much hate around the world, obviously. I don't want to even advise the fact that you have to build a World War III bomb shelter. I mean, what kind of world do we have if that's the point of living, right? Might as well die if that's the kind of world that we have to envision in our future portfolios. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah. So we'll just all die if there's a nuclear World War III. So it doesn't matter actually what your portfolio looks like. If you die, then we all die. Then we all die. That's it. Um, So, yun, kind of sad, but that's it. Okay, there's question. When is it best to close your longs and risk reversals? Is it pre-market or market price or just wait later tonight? Let's take a look at the markets nowadays. Okay, so extended hours, pre-markets, we're already seeing futures are selling off yet again. It's pretty normal. There is a mad dash for cash. So my understanding is that people would try to sell at pre-market, and then and then I think also there are people who just hold on. To be honest, some people might just hold on because of the fact that they believe that the world will unite for a common cause. Just a while ago, I saw that the leader of the military troops of Russia was shot dead, was killed by Ukrainian soldiers. And so Putin is really a rat cornered. Um, I don't know how huge of a threat indeed the nuclear weapons are. So we have to, I don't know, parang kasi it's hard talaga eh. It's a very hard decision. So I'm just really hoping that the allies and the spies and even Russians themselves can successfully detonate the nuclear bombs and magiging empty threat siya so that the humanity is saved. So we need the Avengers or something. In a way, parang Tesla nga is talagang real Avenger eh. Because yung Starlink, they had to update the internet satellites for Ukrainians so that it will run on just car lighters for their internet. Pre-markets are down. Let's see. Obvious naman siguro, pre-markets are down. And then later, there will be more sellers. European markets are slumping. Risk appetite is hit by the nuclear power station attack. Yeah, so it's hard to say because it's an unquantifiable risk. You would take a loss market prices or pre-market. I think that would be the appropriate thing. Di ko masabi. I mean, what company would avoid a sell-off today? I don't know. The only stock that would avoid a sell-off is commodities. Di ko sure. But even commodities, I mean, if you had long oil or long gold, wouldn't you still want to go to cash? Let's just take a look at what, or just take a look at what the markets do tonight. The only good news that I've been reading is Germany redeeming itself through history, doing a lot to save Ukrainians. Diba? Kasi yun. New good earnings for Funko, 15-16% up. So people could still exit if they had. I'd love to say that there is an answer to the problem of the world, but I don't know the answer to. So, yeah, tingnan na lang natin. Okay, pre-markets it's down, extended hours. Some are going up. Up harvest is sustainable farming. I don't know if suddenly the world realized that the need for food will be served by vertical farming. I know. I mean, at the end of the day, kasi you might have to think of the fact that if the world will refuse oil, then they'd have to really think about renewable energies. Extended hours, space satellites might be of use. Seeing GSAT go up kasi internet satellites in space. The warfare is really cyber, to be honest. Now, you might be wondering, why was cyber security last night weak? I think it's just, people cannot think. When they're afraid, people will not think about anything else anymore. So that's the reason why crypto fell. Bitcoin fell as well, diba? Bitcoin now is $41,000. Diyan lang yan. That's why most crypto-related names fell as well. I don't know if the market has fundamentals. The way I see it, of course it's the first time that the market is pricing in a World War III. I don't know what happened in World War I or World War II. Did the stock markets go on that day? I don't even know if the stock market was even open during that time. So I haven't lived through World War I or World War II to know, and I didn't check, by the way. Either way, I think actually it's no point. Why would you have to price in World War III? If you want to price in World War III, then just price in everything as zero, right? Because that's what war is. Your money will be nothing as well if you want to price in World War III. Perhaps even if you won in your shorts, your Interactive Brokers account, all the banks would have been demolished already. You'd have rampant robbery. I mean, I don't want to think about World War III kasi we'll just die naman eh. So I think it's a point of discussion that the world is already too risky. The world is so risky. It even there's no right or wrong, diba? So is it wrong if people will just hold on? That's also okay. Some people will just hold on kasi they don't. It's not that they are unaccepting of losses. It's because yun nga, damn you do, damn you don't eh. If you sell your shares and you took the loss, and then hopefully you'll just be able to buy back whatever you have to think about it in this manner too. Let's assume that you sell. I don't think you will also buy back. If you sell and if the world fell further, it means that every single day we have not yet avoided the threat of these nuclear wars, right? So it will take days or weeks or months, I don't know. So maybe the appropriate answer is to go to cash nga. Yeah, so yun. So I think there's really still a mad dash for cash. Too much risks. I don't know what other people are doing as well. Natin. Extended hours. Everywhere is a red, no? Except for Funko. You know. En masse red eh. Halos lahat red. 2%, 3%. Di naman down 20%. So far, di pa naman down 20%. But who knows? Maybe it goes down 10% or 20% intraday. Extended hours. Clean Spark down 8. Pero small cap yan eh. House for Solar down 1%. Enphase down 1. Sunrun down 2. Solar Edge down 3. You'll have weakness nga later on. If you want to just watch the current events, then just go to Twitter. You get more real-time news there. Yun lang. Sorry. Such a bad bad class, but nothing to share. Eh. So it's just the markets are just really afraid of everything happening. Worldwide event, geopolitics. So far to pala, Bitcoin went up, but ito 7% up. I don't know. I mean, kasi if I think some people they'll just do nothing and just hold it. All I try to think about this from morning till evening. Even last night, I thought about it. I said to myself, it's gonna be a personal decision because there's no right or wrong. If you choose to go into cash because it's an unquantifiable risk, good. At least now you know how much cash you left. If you choose to just keep it, then you are, you're open to sleepless nights. Anyway, sa bagay, who knows naman, diba? This is a time where nobody knows the right thing to do. Yan. So it's just like, everyone is selling it out. The fact that the extended hours is mostly red tells you that the world is scrambling for cash. So the world is scrambling for cash, leaving the markets. At least if you just follow the answer of the market is already telling you what it wants to do. The market is just wanting to go into cash and nothing more. So market's just gonna go to dollar so far. Yun. The shorts are winning. Weird naman. No, sorry, ang weird. Tama ba? Shorts are winning. Oh, tama. Birds, ayun no. Birds, SOX S, SARC, Lab D, SQQQ, TEX, FAZ. The only names that are going up are inverse funds. Basically, the stocks that are shorting the entire market. That's the only stock that's going up. Yun, SARC lang. Everything's like dead. Red. Dead and red. Okay, so good night. Good night, everyone. And let's just hope that the world's democracies win. And hopefully they are able to stop this genocide from killing more people. Bye.